And we all might be wrong.
Yeah.
He might be even stronger than Canelo. He might pack the weight on well. That he might do really well. Believes in his skill.
Yeah.
We can't answer for him.
Yeah.
We let him go and do it. He's done what no one's ever done before. 2-time undisputed world champion. So why not just enjoy it?
The boxing world has been buzzing ever since the talks of a potential Terence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez super fight started heating up. Fans, analysts, and fighters alike have all been giving their take on what would happen if these two pound-for-pound stars shared the ring. Among those voices is none other than former world champion Amir, who has a unique perspective since he has shared the ring with both men. His insight carries weight because he has felt their power, experienced their skills, and understands the difference in their styles firsthand. Khan does not just comment from the outside looking in, he comments as someone who has lived it. In this breakdown, we will carefully go through Amir Khan's full reaction to the possibility of Crawford versus Canelo. We will analyze his words, dissect what they mean, and understand how they shape the narrative surrounding this fight. Each section will cover Khan's perspective in detail, giving you a complete picture of how this matchup is viewed from the inside of the sport. And by the end, we will also explore whether Crawford truly has a chance against a fighter as dangerous as Canelo Alvarez. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe to Boxy Hub and turn on notifications so you never miss out on any updates in the world of boxing. Amir Khan opened his reaction by acknowledging that both Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford are great fighters, and also pointing out that weight divisions exist for a reason. Coming from a man who has fought both, this observation holds more than casual weight. Khan has felt the intensity of Canelo's size and power, and has also witnessed Crawford's skill set up close. His respect for both men is clear, but his mention of weight divisions being established for a purpose highlights one of the biggest concerns in this proposed fight. In boxing, weight is not just about numbers on a scale. It is about physical advantages that translate into strength, punch resistance, and overall presence inside the ring. Khan understands that when you cross over into higher weight divisions, you're no longer just facing skill, you are also facing natural size. Canelo has spent most of his career comfortably at higher weights, building himself into a physically dominant force in the middleweight and super middleweight divisions. Crawford, on the other hand, has proven himself across multiple weight classes, becoming a 2-time undisputed champion, but his frame and natural size do not compare to that of Canelo. Khan's acknowledgement of this difference is not meant to discredit Crawford, but to remind fans that boxing is not always about skill alone. Sometimes, sheer physicality changes the dynamic of a fight. This first statement also sets the tone for how Khan views the matchup. He sees both men as respectful champions with massive accomplishments, but he also stresses that the sport's structure of weight classes is not arbitrary. It exists to create fairness and balance. If Crawford chooses to step outside of his natural division and take on someone as physically imposing as Canelo, he is not only testing his skill but also testing the limits of his physical body. Khan's words are not dismissive of Crawford's ability, but they do foreshadow his caution about how dangerous this move could be.
You know what? I love both fighters, man. And even though I fought them, but you know when you fight them and we did all the build, nothing but respectful.
Yeah.
I just feel that, you know, in boxing, weight divisions are made there they make him for a purpose.
Following that, Khan expressed that, in his opinion, Crawford is the better pound-for-pound fighter because of his ability to beat anyone he faces. This is a powerful statement because Khan is not just comparing highlight reels, he is basing it on what he has personally experienced. Crawford's adaptability, ring IQ, and ability to dismantle opponents across different styles are what make him arguably the most complete fighter in the sport today. Khan's respect here is evident, and he places Crawford at the very top of the pound-for-pound discussion, even above Canelo. What makes this claim so significant is that Khan fought Crawford in 2019 and knows firsthand the kind of skill and ring control Crawford brings. He was able to feel the precision, the timing, and the patience that Crawford applies when he fights. Unlike many other fighters who rely solely on power or volume, Crawford uses his versatility to pick opponents apart and finish them in ways they least expect. For Khan to admit that Crawford beats anyone, even in the context of Canelo being one of the sport's biggest names, shows how deeply impressed he is by Crawford's overall ability. However, Khan's perspective also underscores the key dilemma of this fight. Being pound for pound the best does not automatically mean being the best in every weight class. Pound for pound status measures skill regardless of size, but when you step into a ring with someone naturally bigger, stronger, and accustomed to fighting at heavier weights, skill alone may not be enough. Khan praises Crawford for his undeniable greatness, but by ranking him higher than Canelo on a pound for pound scale, he is also indirectly acknowledging the challenge Crawford faces when trying to bring those skills into a higher division. The skill gap might be in Crawford's favor, but the size gap is not. That contrast is where the intrigue of this fight truly lies.
And I highly respect and say pound for pound the best fighter is Crawford by far and beats anyone.
Khan then pointed out that things become difficult when you start adding weight and moving up divisions, specifically in the context of Crawford fighting Canelo. This observation cuts to the heart of the debate surrounding the fight. Crawford has dominated at lightweight, super lightweight, and welterweight, and even proved himself at junior middleweight, but facing a fully established super middleweight champion like Canelo is another story. The difficulty lies in how that added weight changes a fighter's body, his stamina, and his natural flow inside the ring. Adding weight does not just mean bulking up. It affects speed, reflexes, endurance, and even punching rhythm. Fighters who move up too quickly often find themselves slower, less fluid, and less able to sustain their style for 12 rounds. Crawford's success has always been tied to his sharpness, his ability to think ahead of his opponents, and his quick reactions in exchanges. If adding weight compromises that edge, even slightly, it becomes a dangerous scenario against someone like Canelo, who thrives on capitalizing on small mistakes. Khan's statement highlights the fact that fighting across divisions is not as simple as many fans assume. While Crawford has looked flawless in every division so far, there is a difference between gradually climbing the ladder and jumping straight into a fight against the top name in the higher division. It is not just a challenge of skill, it is a challenge of physiology. Khan is warning that Crawford's brilliance could be diminished if his body does not adapt well to the added size. This is not a knock on Crawford's talent, but a realistic assessment of what happens when fighters chase history by moving up in weight.
When you start putting weight on and you go up a weight and you fight these guys like Canelo.
In the next part of his reaction, Khan explained that while Canelo may be getting older and perhaps a little slower, he remains extremely dangerous because of his immense punching power. This acknowledgement is crucial because it balances the earlier praise for Crawford with a reminder of Canelo's ever-present threat. Aging fighters often lose speed and reflexes, but the last thing to go is usually their power. And in Canelo's case, that power is extraordinary. Khan is speaking from personal experience, having been on the receiving end of Canelo's devastating shots, and he knows that one clean punch can change everything in a fight against him. The danger Crawford faces is that even if he is the faster, sharper, and more technically skilled fighter, he still has to deal with the risk of Canelo landing. Fighters can avoid power shots for rounds, but over 12 rounds against someone who can cut off the ring and throw heavy combinations, the chances of getting caught increase significantly. Khan is emphasizing that no matter how old Canelo gets, no matter how many miles are on his body, that threat does not go away. The ability to deliver knockout power is a game changer, and Crawford would need to be flawless to avoid it for the entire fight. This part of Khan's breakdown adds to the complexity of the fight. Crawford might carry the advantage in speed and versatility, but he cannot afford even a single lapse in concentration. Canelo's power makes him dangerous from the first round to the last. It is the kind of power that forces opponents to fight cautiously, to second-guess their attacks, and to stay mentally sharp at all times. That kind of pressure can wear a fighter down, even if he is winning rounds. Khan's respect for Canelo's power serves as a stark warning to Crawford and to those who think this fight is an easy one for the pound-for-pound.
Canelo might be now getting a little bit older and it might be slowing down a little bit, but he's still going to be very dangerous. That punch power, you're still going to get tagged.
Amir Khan begins with respect. He points out something historic that cannot be ignored. Terence Crawford is a two-time undisputed world champion. That is an achievement that only a handful of fighters in the history of boxing have ever been able to accomplish. Becoming undisputed once is rare. Doing it twice is almost unheard of. At that level, a fighter could easily take a step back, enjoy the legacy, and let the accolades speak for themselves. Khan is saying Crawford has already reached a pinnacle that most fighters can only dream about. Yet instead of sitting back, instead of cruising on greatness, Crawford wants more. He wants the ultimate challenge. He wants Canelo Alvarez. This is not just ambition, it is a hunger that defines the truly great. Crawford is not satisfied with already being recognized as one of the pound-for-pound kings. He is chasing something that could immortalize him forever. But Khan is cautious, even fatherly in his advice. He says plainly, "I would advise him not to." That statement reveals just how dangerous this move really is. Khan knows the game. He knows what kind of risk this is, both for Crawford's career and for his health. Moving up to face a man like Canelo is not just about skill, it is about size, power, and the kind of strength that comes with years of fighting bigger men. Canelo has been competing against light heavyweights and super middleweights, men who naturally outweigh Crawford by 15 to 20 pounds. Crawford is daring to climb into that world, and Khan recognizes the enormity of the task. On one hand, Khan admires Crawford's courage. On the other, he warns him with experience. Sometimes chasing greatness can end up costing everything. This section of Khan's commentary perfectly captures the split emotion around this fight. Admiration for the courage, but real fear about the consequences.
He's done what no one's ever done before. Two-time undisputed world champion. So why not just enjoy? You want to go for that next challenge. Now for him, he wants to go for like Canelo, I would advise him not to go for that.
Amir Khan then shifts his tone and makes something very clear. Crawford's decision to chase Canelo cannot be explained by anyone else. It cannot be rationalized by trainers, by analysts, or by fans. Khan says simply that Crawford believes in his skills and nobody else can answer for him. This is where Crawford separates himself from the rest. Every great fighter has that inner conviction, that voice that tells them they can do the impossible. Crawford is not listening to the noise of doubters. He is not listening to analysts who break down size, reach, or natural weight advantages. He is not even listening to peers like Khan who advise him to stay away. He is listening to himself. And this is what makes fighters legends. History shows us time and time again that greatness requires delusion. It requires self-belief that borders on madness. Muhammad Ali believed he could beat Sonny Liston when nobody else thought he had a chance. Manny Pacquiao believed he could climb through 8 weight classes when experts told him he was too small. Crawford is built from that same fabric. The idea of going up against a much bigger Canelo does not scare him. It excites him. It is a chance to prove once again that his skill set is untouchable, no matter who stands across the ring. Khan's statement reminds the audience of a core truth. Boxing is not a sport you can play safe. You have to go all in. Crawford's faith in himself is not arrogance. It is the fuel that has carried him to the top already. And now it is pushing him toward the biggest mountain of his career. Whether or not he succeeds, this belief alone is why fans respect him as one of the most fearless champions of the modern era.
Believes in his skill. We can't answer for him. We let him go and do it.
Finally, Amir Khan admits the possibility that nobody wants to rule out. What if everyone is wrong? What if Crawford actually shocks the world and defeats Canelo Alvarez? Khan entertains that thought with honesty. He says maybe Crawford puts on the extra weight in the right way. Maybe he carries his power up and maintains his speed. If that happens, Khan suggests, Crawford could even come out stronger than Canelo. This is where the fight becomes fascinating. The boxing world is torn because there is real danger, but also real possibility. Crawford is not like other welterweights. His boxing IQ is unmatched. His timing, his adaptability, and his ability to switch stances confuse every opponent he faces. If he can bring those gifts up into a higher weight class without losing sharpness, then Canelo may be in for a shot. Imagine the narrative if Crawford were to beat a man considered the face of boxing for over a decade. It would not just be a victory, it would be an earthquake. It would redefine pound-for-pound greatness forever. Khan is smart enough to acknowledge that. He is not dismissing Crawford's chances. He is saying the door is open, however narrow. Crawford has always found a way. Against Sean Porter, he adjusted and ended the fight. Against Errol Spence Jr., he dominated when many thought he could not. This is why Khan ends on that note of possibility. Because Crawford has already made a career out of proving people wrong. And perhaps, just perhaps, he could do it again at the highest level against Canelo.
And we all might be wrong. He might be even stronger than Canelo. He might be stronger than Canelo. He might pack the weight on well. That he might do really well.
Amir Khan's perspective on Terence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez is layered with admiration, caution, and curiosity. On one side, he sees Crawford as a man who has already cemented his greatness by becoming a 2-time undisputed champion. Khan urges him to enjoy that glory and avoid unnecessary risks. On the other side, Khan acknowledges Crawford's relentless belief in himself, a belief so strong that no outside voice can sway him. And finally, Khan leaves the door open for the most shocking outcome, the idea that Crawford could step into the ring, take on Canelo, and actually win. This conclusion captures exactly why this potential fight has the world buzzing. It is a collision of risk and reward, of logic and fate. For Crawford, this is not about what people think. It is about testing his soul against the biggest challenge available. For Canelo, it would be about defending his kingdom from a smaller but fearless invader. Whether it ends in triumph or disaster, one truth is undeniable. Crawford's decision to chase Canelo proves that he is not just chasing titles, he is chasing immortality. And that is why the boxing world cannot stop talking about it.